Courtside Monday.
Joined by friend of the show, friend of mine, Peyton Davis, who's over here. He's on. He doesn't know that YouTube's on, so he's just standing up. He's on the camera. He's like, "What's going on?" But he didn't grab. See, you didn't grab headphones, did you?
Nope.
Didn't grab headphones.
Nope.
Rookie mistake.
Absolutely.
Guess what? I'll get you hooked up in the break. Hey, I'll keep talking. There's a pair over there you can grab. See if they'll fit in for you. We'll get you taken care of, though. Peyton is unfortunately he graduated from this place right here. I'm gonna put it on camera there, Oregon State University. His mom works with me over at the OSAA. He's a sports nut. He likes the old sports, so that's pretty cool. And he's doing what every young sports fan should do, and that is like, hey, are you free? Hey, do you think I can show up? Think I can come into the studio today? Think I can come and see what this is all about? And so here he is. So welcome in, Peyton. You've been here before. The fans might remember. You've done a show with me.
Yeah. Where do I plug these in?
Hey, you can hear me. I'm loud. Just deal that. You won't need to hear anything else. I'll take care of you, okay? Cool. You just let me captain the ship.
Love it.
I know I do some Blazer shows every once in a while.
That is what you're good at, yeah.
With the captain, Rich Patterson, but I am the captain of the Rip City radio ship today, so you're going to be just fine, my friend. And you were in the back with me while we were getting the Rip City Drive on air, right? You were learning some of the producing stuff, and we were just going over what's going on and happening around the league. And I think you and I, Peyton, before we get into the big Blazers stuff, let's continue the conversation that Dwight and Chad were having about good old LeBron
Absolutely.
James.
A lovely conversation.
You guys weren't listening. The Godfather doesn't think doesn't think LeBron is a max player at this point. And he's like, I'd give him, 35 mil or what have you. Thinks that the Lakers have all the leverage. I don't think so, Peyton. I think LeBron still has all the leverage. I think it was proven that he has all the leverage when at 55, the Lakers did what nobody thought was going to happen with any team other than the Lakers. And they, with the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James.
Yeah, I think they might have just said with the 55th overall pick, they select LeBron's son.
They could have just said that.
Could have just said that at the draft. Yeah, it was something.
Does he call himself like Prince James? If you got the king, do you have the prince?
Yeah, maybe that's a team only thing. I don't know.
I don't know, but to me, it felt like he holds all the cards, right? Like, hey, you're gonna do this. You're gonna. I don't like Frank Vogel. Get him out of here. Bring in Darvin Ham. Hey, guess what? I don't like Darvin Ham anymore. Get him out of here. Bring in JJ Redick. He's my buddy. He's my buddy. Like I know the podcast. He knows his stuff, guys. Bring him in. Draft my son. Like,
yeah.
Who's running the ship over there? If I'm the captain of the Courtside Monday, he's the captain of the Los Angeles Lakers boat.
Correct. And I think too. Once again, I don't want this to be a Godfather bash session here.
Oh, it's never. There's no such thing.
But I think that Lebron is absolutely. I mean, once again, I think Chad hit it on the head here. What do you define as the max? You're getting a player. You're getting a coach. Really, you're getting a guy who is honestly probably telling Rob Pelinka a lot of what to do. Who are you going to hire? What are you going to do? Bring JJ in. This reminds me of when you had Kevin Durant really advocating for Steve Nash over in Brooklyn. And what do you have now? So I don't know. I think that in terms of holding all the cards, LeBron has all the cards.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think he has all the cards because he can walk out on free agency. Everyone can say just like Dwight said, I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's ever going anywhere. He walked into free agency knowing he can redo his contract and come back. Mm-hmm. But when the guy walks out in free agency and you're still listening to everything he does, he holds the cards. He's LeBron.
He is.
LeBron at almost 40, right there. Like, he's still one of the best players in the league. He's not what he was 10 years ago, but he's still a freak.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I saw something on social media actually recently. It was hilarious. Somebody asked Bryce James, his second oldest son behind Bronny. He was like, you think your dad's going to wait for you to enter the draft? And he was like, my dad's going to be almost 43 years old. Right. There's no way. And it was an uproar. So you have ESPN, NBA reporters asking his kids what he's going to do.
Right.
It sounds like leverage to me.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, we've never seen this before.
No.
A guy at this age of his career still playing incredible basketball. Like I said, he's not what he was, in Cleveland and Miami. I mean, the prime LeBron was probably that Miami run, really, where he saw the best of the best out of him.
100%.
But he's still freaking good.
Yeah,
like
he's still doing what other players. Yeah, he's.
I mean, if LeBron James hit the open market. Granted, he is a free agent right now, but if he hit the open market where teams had money and realistically thought that he was going to go anywhere, Dallas would have called him before they called Clay.
100%.
Philly would have called him before they called PG. Every team would have been after him.
Every
but no,
team.
it's all quiet because he's going back.
Yeah.
He's going to get his.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just found that was interesting, though. Enough of that Laker talk. There will be a little bit more Laker talk throughout this show, but it'll all come back to the Blazers. This is a Blazer show, and that's what we got to talk about. We will talk about Donovan Clingan. I do want to get your thoughts on the newest member of the Portland Trail Blazers, a rookie out of UConn, two-time national champion, two-time high school champion. All the dude does is win.
Knows how to win.
Yeah, great player. So we'll talk about him. Talk about how the draft went down, if there was any surprises for you. But since we're talking about LeBron and free agency and all the things that are happening, let's keep it there. First off, with the Blazers. The Blazers have been quiet. And that was to be expected. There's not going to be a lot of moves. They re-upped. They got Delano Banton back for next year.
Mm-hmm.
They have Justin Minaya back on a 2-way contract.
Yep.
And that's it so far. Not a lot else. You've seen some smaller pieces move around the NBA, and the Blazers might very well find a way to bring someone in, but the roster's full. They got what they need. I mean, they got Ayton. Remember, not a lot of turnover, right? So they got Ayton, they got Walker, they got Tamani, they got Sharp, they got Scoot. They still have Ant. They still have Matisse Thybulle. They have Jeremy Grant, right? They have Duop Reith. And so you go to the roster's full. So it's not like, oh, Klay Thompson's available. Let's bring him in
100%.
or whatever you want to do. But are you at all disappointed you haven't seen maybe more moves yet? Because there was a lot going on here, Peyton. It could have been signing guys. It could have been trading guys. Now there has been a lot of smoke today, right?
That's
about
true.
Jeremy Grant
very true.
The Lakers. See, I told you we'd get back there.
Yes,
but what's
absolutely.
your gut feeling as a Blazer fan, my man?
So far, gut feeling is this is something that I am very unfamiliar with as a Blazers fan, but I am hopeful. It is, we recently, there has been some action. We traded for Denny from Washington, which was, I think, pretty solid for us.
I forgot. See, so much has been going
So
on.
much.
That's right,
So much.
Denny Advia,
Yes.
and we'll get into that a little bit more because I do think that's an underrated move.
I think it's
right now.
underrated. And even just to bring back, once again, going into the draft, I saw a lot of people who had, Donovan Clingan maybe, in their top 3 to 5 picks, and to get him at 7 and not have to trade up is really awesome. And once again, kind of pivoting back to Denny, I don't think we were getting anybody of his caliber at that 14 pick, especially to contribute right away. You know what I mean? That's what my kind of thought was on that. And especially to come in as a, 6'10", 215. He averages, you're looking at 15 and 7 rebounds. Jeremy's been playing the 4 for a long time, and I can't have my 4 averaging 3.2 rebounds per game.
Right.
I want him to average 7.5, especially on 52% shooting instead of 44. So I thought that was awesome for us, and it's one of those things where he kind of fits into our system a little bit. Going back and having Denny play on a team with Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, where he's not getting as many shots as he wants. It's like be with a young core, help our team develop, and fit into a team that I think fits his skill set well and needs him.
Yeah, let's talk about that trade for a second. That's a great point there. But Denny Advia goes to Portland from Washington. It was Malcolm Brogdon, the 14th pick.
Yeah.
I believe there was another pick in there as well, another first-round pick in there as well. And I think a lot of Blazer fans in the moment were like, what? Why? This doesn't make sense. And what's interesting about this is, at first, Denny Advia did finish 6th last year in the most improved player race.
Yeah.
So there was something there. He averaged 14.7 points, 7.2 rebounds, 3.4 assists, did shoot 37% from 3-point range. So he was showing off the arsenal. And there happened to be a reporter at the Blazers practice facility on draft night who had covered and done a lot of Washington Wizards stuff, and he was gushing over him. He's like, he's a baller. All he needs is the opportunity. Like, he's really good. Saw glimpses of it last year. Like, he was excited, and that's good to see. And the interesting part is, and that was my first reaction too, was I think he's better than anybody that was going to be available at 14 right now.
Agree.
Where their ceiling is, where they go, is neither here nor there at the moment, but right now he's better. And people automatically go to the whole trade thing. So you're trading for a guy who's been in the league now, 4 years? Last year was his 4th year.
Absolutely, yeah.
But keep in mind, the Lakers ended up drafting Dalton Connect, right? Who was rumored a guy who Blazers could have picked there in the line.
Yeah.
Dalton Connect is 23 years old, born April 29th. Okay? Danny Advia, 23 years old, born in January. So he's only a few months older than guys who were being drafted. So he's
100%.
still young, and he fits that timeline, the Shaden Sharp, the Scoot. DeAndre Ayton, who's another name you and I will get into throughout the show because people are like, do you trade him? Do you don't?
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton's only 25 years old.
Exactly.
So, again, those timeline things, Advia really meshes in with that.
Yeah, agreed. And it's one of those things, too, where, Dalton Connect looks like a great prospect out of Tennessee, correct? Out of Tennessee, he looks polished, but Denny has, like you said, those 3 years of professional basketball under his belt there. He has a lot of development in those 3 years. Like you said, most improved player. I know he also, they're kind of handing these out nowadays, but he had a game last year where he had 43 and 15. And that's a feat for me. That's something to look at. And so, that was huge. And like you said, he's polished and he fits in. He's a real good plug and play player for us.
Yeah, I know you said they're handing them out too, but you still have to have a certain level of skill that not a lot of people possess to go drop 40 points in an NBA basketball game,
absolutely.
Right? It was a 43-point performance that you're alluding to, which was his career high. It was against the Pelicans. Of all teams, which
I'm sure we can talk Pelicans.
Yeah, we can talk Pelicans. Talk everything.
Murray, that's going to be something.
That's interesting what they're doing as well. But no, that's a team that team right there has Brandon Ingram, who's not a bad defender. Herb Jones, who's one of the best defenders in the game. Like they're big. They're going to make you work for it. Advia had 43 points. 6 of 10 from 3 in that game, 13 of 24 for overall. Also, it was a 15 rebound game too.
Yeah,
so, I mean that's a good performance. That's
if
not
that
something
doesn't
that just
bring hope. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. I think it's interesting to see where he fits in. Do you play him at the 3? Do you play him at the floor? He has the ability to play both. He's listed more as a small forward, but like you said, 6'10", brings a lot of versatility to the floor.
Yeah,
underrated move really because instantly everyone has been focusing on Donovan Clingan, who you and I will talk about after the break. But that happened on the same night. He's right there, and he's a new Blazer too. And how does that impact something? So, you know what? That's where we're going to go. We're going to take a break here on Courtside Monday. When we come back, we are going to talk about that NBA draft. We're going to talk about Donovan Clingan. How does it impact DeAndre Ayton's future? What possible lineups are there out there? Because I think it's interesting, Peyton, because everyone's automatically going to the sell. They can't be good. But this team might be able to be better than people think. Which way do they go? We'll talk about it next. Welcome back in to Courtside Monday. I was laughing over here because the music, Peyton doesn't have headphones. He's lucky right now. I forgot to set him up properly. But I was like, okay, Oaks is producing, Mike Oaks. You haven't met him. Wonderful guy. And I'm like, man, the music's coming in real loud in my ear. Like, why? And I'm like, oh, it's because Chad was in here. Chad, who you met, who everyone loves, I think his ears are just, they're not what they used to be, right? Just like LeBron is. And I just, you know why the music was coming in loud in my ear? Because the on a scale of 1 to 10, he turns it up to 12 on this thing, and it blasts my ears out. And so,
That's
Oaks,
awesome.
It wasn't you. Thank you. You're doing a wonderful job. This was user error.
I was going to ask you why you were yelling in the mic at the beginning, but
because I was
blew
like,
your eardrums out.
The music was so loud. And I forgot that Chad can't hear. And Chad didn't have his earbuds in. He had the headphones.
The big ones.
It messed up everything.
Oh, geez.
When you have to put the earphones in your ear all the time, it just messes with you. It's quite the battle we have to do. Chris Burkhardt here with you on Courtside Monday. Joined today by a friend of the show, Peyton Davis. He was on with me once last year, but maybe we'll get him on a few more times. A recent grad of the prestigious Oregon State University. That's right. Even a duck can say nice things about our friends up north. But no, you graduated there, and you're a big sports guy, so I'm giving you some chances to come in. It does help that, that your mom's office desk is, a stone's throw from mine at the OSAA. Yes. That your dad likes to frequent the office, and he got to make sure that I'm treating everybody right. So
I'm just trying not to spoil the chances now. That means it's the other way around too. If I mess this up, my mom will she'll get it from Chris. So
That's good. That's good. But I'm always glad that you got a chance to come in here and have some fun, and maybe we'll bring you back in. I know it won't be as fun just because of everything that happened. The lights officially went dark on the Pac-12 network. Rest in peace. But maybe come September, October, we'll have you back in. We'll have a special Courtside Monday college football edition where you and I can just talk Ducks and Beavers, and we can have some fun.
We'll probably talk more about that new NCAA game that's coming out rather than the actual Pac-12.
You guys, I'm gonna go absolute ham on that.
I can't. I wish I could pre-order it. I might do it right now.
You should. I already told Chad that I'm going to take vacation days. Like I'm
Perfect.
out. I've said this to everyone who listens, so they know. But that is the only sports game, Peyton, that I always bought brand new every year it came out. From NCAA 05, 06 all the way, I bought it every single year. I love NBA 2K. Like if I went and looked at my logged hours, I've probably logged more hours on NBA 2K than any other video game.
100%.
I buy the latest NBA 2K midway through the basketball season when it's on sale because I'm like, I don't need the roster update because that's all
100%.
That's all 2K's become.
That's what I did for 2024.
Right?
2K24. I got it probably a couple months ago. I never played my team before. Went into my team.
Okay.
Brand new experience.
There you
Love
go.
it. Can't stop playing it.
But the point is, I never bought 2K new. College football, I buy new.
100%. I am imaging in my mind NCAA 13, Robert Griffin III in a Baylor uniform.
There you go.
It's in my dreams. I can see it. Just wait in a couple weeks.
I say I have the 14. It was Denard Robinson. That's
Michigan?
Yeah.
Oh yes, I do remember that.
It's the greatest game of all time. I can't wait for it. By the way, you're getting shout outs here from the Stray Cat on YouTube. It just says "Go Beef." So you see,
love that.
They're loving
Stray Cat, awesome.
They're loving
That's
it.
awesome.
All right, now let's talk about the newest cat in town here in Rip City, and that is Yukon Husky. He went from cat to I don't know. Animal's weird.
You're thinking ahead.
But newest Trailblazer with the 7th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. The Blazers took Donovan Clingan. And I thought this was actually interesting because I wasn't super high on Clingan kind of going in to the draft. I am high on his defense, a little bit low on his offense. I think he is very capable of becoming a good starting center in the NBA, and I think that's what we'll see. But I didn't really expect him to be available at 7. I kind of thought he was going to go 4, 6, 5, I thought he was going to go before 7. But
100%.
When the pieces started to move around, you're like, it looks realistically like Clingan's going to be there. It made perfect sense to draft this guy, right?
Perfect sense. And I think also just in general, this draft itself was very interesting because you heard for months and months, hey, Alex Sarr at 1. It's a lock. And then all of a sudden, everything is switching. It was so many moving parts when you get into it, and then to fall at 7 and get Clingan, a certified winner through high school and college, fits our system well. I think it was, match made in heaven.
Right, and the Sarr stuff, it was like he's number 1, and then that radio silence, which really made you start to think that there was going to be a shakeup, and there was. He ended up going number 2 overall, and then Clingan falls there, and then it wasn't the only move they made. We talked about it earlier, but they traded the 14th pick out and ended up getting Danny Advia out of that. They had 2 second-round picks, traded both of them out. So they draft ended. All they got was a drafted player in Donovan Clingan and then Danny Advia. But I think they both make sense. So the question here is, how does this impact the rotations, right? And what they're going to do here moving forward? Because you still have DeAndre Ayton.
Yep.
You still have Robert Williams.
Yep.
You have Dwap Reith, who had a pretty good rookie year for the Blazers, despite the fact that he was 27 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Jeremy Grant, what do you do with him? So now you got bigs, right? And now you can move some things around. For me, I said this the minute it happened. Coach Billups said it in the press conference that during the introductory press conference as well. But the thing is, you look around the league and a lot of teams, Minnesota, Cat and Gobert, they're going big. Cavs, Mobley, and Jared Allen, they're going with 2 bigs. Even Denver was a team that he referenced. He's like, Aaron Gordon is a big. Like, he's played power forward most of his career.
Yep.
And if you put him at small forward, he's still huge. Like, they go big. So a lot of teams are going with the 2 bigs. And he talked about how there might be possibilities to see both Clingan and Ayton on the court together. So what are your thoughts on that? Because I know back there, you're like, what? Did he really say that? Like, what? Do you think that can play out? Is there any viability to that in your mind?
I think that I think my hesitation with having two bigs, which it's funny you bring up Minnesota because that's what I think about as well, is I think that for a guy like Klingon, that's not, I don't want to say his ceiling, but in terms of a really solid defensive player who has the ability to improve on offense, reminds me of a Rudy Gobert. This reminds me of a situation with Utah with Kessler, I think it is. Big backup center, really great defensive capabilities, has the ability to have a really strong pick and roll game with Scoot in Portland, I think. My hesitation comes with DeAndre Ayton being able to stretch the floor as much as other fours can. Mm-hmm. Obviously Aaron Gordon isn't somebody who's going to hit a bunch of threes in your face. He'll hit a corner three, though, and DeAndre Ayton is one of those guys where he has a really solid mid-range game. But I just don't know if he has the ability to stretch the floor enough to give Klingon the space in the middle to kind of, dominate down there.
Right, and it is one of those things, though. Defensively, I think he's great. I think he's going to be everything that's advertised once you figure out how to play in the NBA. Quick enough to get out to the outside when he needs to, but he's going to be a lockdown on the inside. DeAndre Ayton has been good on that end, too. It gives you two good defenders. Can almost even go a little bit old school. I mean, look at the way it's an easy comparison because we saw it so much. But I mean, look at the way LaMarcus Aldridge played. Like LaMarcus Aldridge wasn't stretching the floor and hitting threes when he was in Portland, right? But he did, air quotes, stretch the floor in the fact that he could hit that mid-range with ease. And that's really where DeAndre Ayton excels for a big man, too.
Very, very
so maybe
true.
you find ways to do that. Maybe it just gives you another body to go with two big men on the floor and battle some of these teams that like to play two guys. What's interesting to me is, like, depth-wise, it makes a lot of sense because Robert Williams, really good, lacks availability, right? He has been hurt and multiple stops now. Didn't even get to see him last year.
I know.
And, there he is. Duwop Reith, what's the timeline there? Because, again, he's going to be 28 years old, very, very affordable, but a guy like him might see, hey, limited window here. Maybe I want to hit free agency, see what's out there.
Yeah.
And so Klingon gives you depth, gives you the ability to trade out of Ayton if you want, just gives you versatility to the lineup. And then you can sit here and poo-poo it, right? Oh, no, you can't play Ayton at the 4. You can't do this. I think it's one of those things like have you ever tried this drink before? Oh, no, I wouldn't want to. Oh, don't knock it until you try it, right?
Totally.
Because you never know. It might work. Granted, different skill sets, but everybody, there's no way Cat can play the 4. I did say that was a good trade when it happened, by the way. I just want to point that out there.
I'll give you this.
People will be like, oh, Burkhart, you can't be right all the time. That's the point. I'm not right all the time. So when I am right, I actually remember. Mm-hmm. Okay? But again, Cat was able to really move into that 4 position, plays it a little more fluid than he did the 5.
100%.
Offensively, he's a stud. So maybe you can get those things done. I'm just not completely sold on the fact that you have to trade DeAndre Ayton right now because, again, 25 years old. If you build this thing the way you want, maybe 2 years from now, you're sitting like a play-in team. Things are really churning. And you got a 27-year-old center hitting free agency that you can give some money. You still have a guy who's behind him in Donovan Klingon who's still developing on his rookie deal. Things are looking good. And maybe you don't have incentive to trade Jeremy Grant either. I don't know. Now, Jeremy Grant does seem like the writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
That he's probably going to be gone at some point in the offseason, it feels like. A lot of smoke coming from L.A., who wants a shooter, especially now that Klay Thompson went to Dallas. Yeah, that sounds weird if you're just catching up on all your NBA news. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. But yeah, there's still a lot of moving parts. Either way, I think the center position, whether it is DeAndre or Donovan Klingon, they have opportunity here to kind of pick their path, pick their poison, and move the things around.
And I think for a team that, like, what have we been talking about since we acquired Scoot? The Blazers are so guard heavy, so many guards. Now to have versatility, exactly, to have this versatility in the front court area, it's such a different thing. I'm totally on the train of you do not need to make a decision on Ayton right now. I think this honestly is going to be really good for Ayton to make him a better player. What has been the thing with Ayton since he got drafted? It's been the conversation of, is he going to bring maximum effort in and night out?
Yeah, mentality, right?
Exactly. So I think that having a certified winner in Klingon to come in and say, hey, I'm gunning for starting spot, it makes Ayton say, hey, I'm going to either play the 4 and I'm going to really have to push myself, but it gives a guy on your tail. It gives you a guy to chase you a little bit and say, hey, listen, I'm here to play a lot of minutes. That's what I'm here for. And Robert Williams was never able to do that, like you said, because of availability. So I think that can help the situation a little bit too. maybe not for Robert Williams in my eyes.
Yeah. And I think even for Donovan Clingan too. I mean, if you want a guy who, the fact that he prides himself on defense, I think makes every single Blazer fan's ears perk up a little bit. Like you could tell in the introductory press conference that when they mentioned defense, like he just didn't say it because that's what he's supposed to say. You could tell this guy likes playing
prides
defense.
himself on it. It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's great. And this type of guy too hasn't, at least to this point, hasn't had that air quotes baggage, right, attached to him, the mental side where, he gets down if he's not getting the ball, or he gets this, he gets that. And maybe that's refreshing too, because that's something that you did get with DeAndre Ayton. Granted, I think he got out of that a little bit because he started his Blazer tenure in the doghouse because he was that guy. The reputation came and he was that guy. Got out of it, and I think that's why you saw a better DeAndre Ayton by the end of the year because his head was clear, he was focused, he knew what the plan was, and he was playing really good basketball. Because what I loved about DeAndre Ayton is you saw him find that comfort zone, get out of that doghouse, like I said, and by the end of the year, I mentioned to Chad all the time we were at the games, like he was a coach on the floor. You'd see him barking at players like, no. Well, if I'm going to go under and sit back here, you go over here. Yep. You like this is where I need you to be. Like he was coaching up, which is great. But I bring this all around because again, there was that mental thing. You never know if it comes back. The center before him, Yusuf Nurkic, that was almost the exact same tag on him when he came in from Denver. Right? He's disgruntled. He's not good for locker room. He's not this. It ended up being great.
Yeah.
But it ended up getting to the point too where it starts to rear its ugly little head. So maybe you get a guy who doesn't have that style about him, and it's just a breath of fresh air a little bit.
100%. And I think that's what a lot of teams are looking for now. A lot of teams are looking for guys to come in and do that work that a lot of people aren't willing to do. So if you have a guy coming in and embracing that as a part of his identity, like you said, breath of fresh air, ears are perked. I'm excited as a Blazer fan.
Yeah, I am too. I think he's going to be good. Now the next question is, everybody is automatically jumping on the sell. You got to tank because next year's draft is deeper. Cooper flag, this and that.
I've heard Cooper flag a lot of times.
Here's my take, okay? Granted, I don't necessarily think the Blazers are going to be great, but I hate this idea of always tanking because I have players on my roster right now. Ayton, Grant, Matisse Thybulle, right? I can even start leaving last year. Jabari Walker, Tamani Kamara, who are proven assets. I know what they are.
Yeah.
I can say all day long that Cooper Flag is going to be great. I don't know what Cooper Flag is in the NBA yet. I don't know what any player 1 through 50 is going to be in the NBA. So you're taking a massive risk on a what if, right?
100%.
But you look at the roster now, and I sit here and I go, granted, everyone's telling me they want to tank because Cooper Flag. But I look at it, I go, you can't tell me that a team with Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, Danny Advia, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, say those are your starters for a minute, all right? And then rotation players of Scoot Henderson and Matisse Thybulle and Tamani Kamara and Jabari Walker or Robert Williams and Donovan Clingan.
Yeah.
Isn't a team that can win games and be good.
And that's one of those things where you look on paper, it's similar to, I'm not going to make that comparison. That's not fair. This is one of those things where it's like you have, at what point, it's almost like thinking vets are there for a reason. Mm-hmm. And it's like, as much as it is so exciting to wait for the draft and have all these things happen and bring in great new talent that's so promising, there is a very positive thing that comes with having a great, like, it's almost just like, it almost is like you're saying poo-pooing the whole thing. It's like, we just did great. Let's wait till next year to do it. It's like, we just made massive improvements. Mm-hmm. We just made these moves to get better, and we look really good on paper. And once again, it's one of those things where it's like, as a Blazers fan, I don't want to see the team tank when you have that kind of roster that looks very promising.
On
and
paper, it looks like they can win, right?
And especially we were talking about this before the show. It's so even right now in the NBA. You don't have the last 15, 20 years of super teams. It's like we just watched the Suns, who seem to be this incredible caliber super team, lose in the first round. It's like you can compete with anybody night in and night out. And so to not do that almost feels like a disservice.
Yeah, I agree. Now, there was comments during the Riv City Drive from, I missed who it was. I have to scroll back up, and that's a lot of scrolling. So we were popping off in the comments. Oh, it was John in Salem. There it was talking about he thinks a 50-win team. I don't think so. I mean, Dallas just went to the NBA Finals. They were a 50-win team in a stacked West. I don't think they're that good. But it's hard to look at the Blazers again on paper, the qualifier here, and say that's not a play-in team with that talent, right?
100%.
It's just a matter of figuring out which way you want to go, because that's the tough part. You are either all in or you are all out, whichever way you're going. You're either deciding that, you know what, the tank ain't worth it. We're going to try to win right now and get these guys going, and that's the way you go, which I think is not a terrible idea, because at least you might finally see what you actually have in Chauncey Billups, because you give him a chance, right? Or you say, you know what, we are going to fully tank. And if you decide to fully tank and say that you really do want to focus on that draft, okay, that's the decision you made. Then to me, that means you got to find a way to get Ant, Jeremy, and at least DeAndre Ayton out.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's about as well as you can say it. I agree. I think that's something that you can't. The last thing Portland needs is to be a middle of the road team that just ends
that's the worst
in a flat line.
Yeah.
You can't. That's just the worst.
Finishing
thing
11th, a game
exactly.
Almost
the last thing you want to do is finish. With 30 wins, and you're sitting at 11 or 12, and last thing you want.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, though. The idea of completely sending off all those guys kind of sucks to talk about, because, again, I like watching good basketball, and Ant and Jeremy and DA are good at basketball, so I like watching it, right?
Yeah.
I also happen to really like Matisse Thybulle, so I don't want to see him go, right? And that part, that sucks if that's the direction you want to go. But if the direction you choose to go is full rebuild, get all the vets out of here, bring in a bunch of other vets who are on expiring deals or things you can get out of here that aren't going to help you win, but you have Scoot, Shea, Donovan Clingan, Tamani Kamara, who's going to be part of the future, and Danny Advia, like, you got a nice young group of 5 that you can say that's where we're focused.
Yeah.
And wherever else we get in the draft, if it's Cooper Flag, if it's whatever, we're in a good spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and like you said, it's one of those things where it's Jeremy Grant writing is almost on the wall.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the next couple of days, but it just, once again, going back to being so guard heavy, I want to have somebody in the locker room to help Scoot succeed. We saw him kind of in the last third of the season really to pick it up a little bit and kind of to fit into his role. But, Anthony's a guy he's a volume guy. He needs shots to make shots. And sometimes it's really great when it's high. And for me, sometimes when it's low, it's low. And it's hard to have that kind of back and forth during a season when you're trying to make improvements, trying to continue to win games. So, yeah, it's one of those things where you got to make a decision one way or the other.
And who says Ant has to be the decision either? Like that,
True.
Like here's the thing.
True.
Everyone automatically says Ant has to be the guy gone, but what if it's Shaedon Sharpe, right? And it gives you say you want to go that route, because that gives you a full runway for Scoot. It allows you to play Ant at the 2, which he is better at playing anyway. Like, he showed some versatility at point guard this year, but he was kind of forced to.
True.
You could tell that he's not comfortable being a pass-first guard or just a passing guard in general.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it either. No. The guy the year before was one of the best in the entire league at the catch-and-shoot 3 numbers.
True.
And then you put the ball in his hand consistently and take him out of what he excelled at. But we've all automatically gone to Ant is the guy who's gone. Shaedon Sharpe, again, is very similar a little bit to the draft thing I threw out a second ago. It's like, do you know what you have in him? You know that you have a super athlete, but he's only played a handful of games. He's been injured. Where's he at?
And that doesn't even just extend to Blazers. That extends to before that, right? Even didn't play in college, played AAU, but
right.
It extends past before his NBA history. So once again, and I think that once again happens to me sometimes. Recency bias. You watch him poster somebody, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, he's the guy," and it's so hard. But yeah, I think that once again, in terms of looking at,
well, I watched Will Barton poster guys. He ended up being a career backup, a very good one, but a career backup. I watched Thomas Robinson poster guys. He was only around for a while. I've seen a lot of guys poster guys who. Yeah, they were really good at making posters.
Yeah.
Also, you're 23 years old. Does saying someone posterized someone even count anymore? I mean, do posters exist?
Oh, posters exist.
You gotta be like, oh, he memed him.
Yeah, exactly. I guess in reality, I didn't even think about this, but it's putting somebody on a poster. But I guess
Right.
I've
Yeah. Poster.
exactly.
See,
But we're starting a new thing. Put them on a T-shirt.
Put him on a t-shirt. There you go. Put a bird on it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It's tough because I think that in terms of if you're looking to build for the future, Shaden fits that narrative more. But also, it's one of those things where you got to make a decision, and I'm not the person to make that decision. I just talk about it.
That's good. That's good. We got a few minutes left here because we got to get out of here because we do have a Hops game coming up here shortly. So before we go, Peyton, let's pivot from the Blazer talk and on-air producing. Hey, Mike Oakes, whenever you want me to get out of here, you just play that outro music. I'm like Pavlov's dog, man. You hear the music? Hey, I know it's time to
Exactly.
go. All right, so we'll get out of here and let I think Matt Rickert and Rich Burke on the call on the Hops game. Fun game. You ever get out to Hops games?
Oh yeah,
They're so fun.
love them.
They're
awesome.
so fun.
I was at the Mariners game yesterday against the Twins. Lost, but still. I always forget how good live baseball is.
Oh, live baseball!
It's
is
awesome.
It is awesome. Hops do a great job for a
true, very very true. Complex out there, super
like,
nice too.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the basketball. Let's get your takes here on what has been happening over the last 24 hours here, and that is NBA free agency. A couple interesting moves. Paul George is gone from the Clippers. He is in Philadelphia now. He's pairing up with Embiid. Klay Thompson. The dynasty has been broken up. He is agreed to terms. He is now going to Dallas, pairing with Kyrie and Luka, which might be sneaky good if he can just stay healthy.
Yeah,
the shot's
exactly.
going to be there if he can figure that out.
One of those things as on paper, it looks
right.
Good.
They wanted to put all their money, and they wanted to get Derek Jones Jr., but he's gone. I think he went to the Clippers.
Yep.
There's been some moves. Isaiah Hartenstein, who had a big impact for the Knicks in the playoffs. He's over to OKC, who's had a sneaky good summer because he's a good pickup, as is Alex Caruso. So what are your take over the last few hours of the NBA and the new faces and new places?
I feel like my screen time this week is going to be up quite a bit. Just I'm on Twitter all the time. I actually funny thing. Two things on Isaiah Hartenstein. I didn't know he was from Eugene. So OKC Thunder are traveling to Eugene to offer him the contract.
That's right.
I just saw that. Didn't even realize. Crazy. And then also, he is going to, with this contract with OKC, he will be making more money than Jalen Brunson this next year. How crazy is that?
That's
How
why
crazy
makes
is
sense
that?
as to why he went to OKC.
Yeah,
then.
exactly. It's incredible to me, insane. But it's just been an uproar. It's been incredible. I don't know how sold I am. Paul George is one of those guys where you worry about the injury history. You've seen it with him and another player, Kawhi, who have injury history.
Right. You've seen it with Joel Embiid, who he's teaming up with now.
Exactly. So I'm not calling a finals lock there yet, but that's going to be super, super exciting. But oh my gosh, just the amount of moves that are being made is crazy.
I will say this. I think a Maxey, Paul George, Embiid big three is far better balanced and harder to defend than a James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard big three.
That is absolutely true. I think that is especially just looking at those two things, you're like, that's scarier to me, having to guard an MVP, somebody who was, in 2019, 2020, a second or third front runner for MVP in Paul George. And then you have, Tyrese Maxey, who can drop 40 any night he wants, really. It's one of those things that's just incredible to me. And then another one that shocked me was DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans. I almost called the police. They were stealing. That's incredible.
Yes.
Couple of seconds, just that trade was crazy to me. And it seems around kind of the time when Lonzo was hitting his stride with the Pelicans and they were being really successful. Mm-hmm. Reminds me of that. I think DeJounte can do more for that team.
Yeah, and I think the Pelicans are still going to be a team to watch here because there's been, again, smoke and rumors about Brandon Ingram possibly being on the outs because they got Murphy, who's a very, very good forward that they can plug in there. They still have Herb Jones, right, who's great for them. But I think they're a team to watch here because Jonas Valanciunas left in free agency. Yep. He went to Washington.
Yeah, that's right.
So now where's that big? So say that Brandon Ingram is trying to go to Sacramento or San Antonio or wherever, and they need a third team to try to help facilitate that. If you're Portland, you get in on that, right? Okay, well, we got that logjam that we just talked about. We want to give the keys to Donovan Clingan, so we'll package DA DA to New Orleans, Brandon Ingram to wherever he's going, and assets and picks to Portland.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's one of those things, too, where it's like, I'll take as many assets as you're willing to give out. It's
Right.
it's helps our team, helps development, stuff like that. Super willing to do that. And that's one of those things that seems great. It also, once again, makes me think about how many teams are kind of left high and dry, too, throughout
Right.
this process, right? This isn't a Lakers show, but the Lakers reaching out to the Blazers about Jeremy Grant.
Right.
It kind of just speaks volumes because, you know they're calling Clay, they're calling other people, DeMar DeRozan they're calling. It's one of those things where it's like that is something that leaves certain teams high and dry, too.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, a team of CJ McCollum, DeJounte Murray, Murphy, Williamson, Ayton, I like their chances.
And that the defensive upgrade there, if BI decides to make a move with Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. Trey Murphy,
Trey's
3
been
and D,
great. He's been
incredible
great.
3 and D guy.
And Herb Jones has been lockdown defense as he got in the league. So
lockdown.
That's a fun young team there, and that is a good one because DeJounte Murray. I don't know why people sleep on that guy. I mean, he's a bucket getter, and defensively he's just so long and just he can give people fits. So
100%.
So that's a good trade there, and so that's the fun part about all this, Peyton, is seeing who goes where and then who does get left high and dry because maybe Portland calls and they facilitate and it's a 4-team deal and next thing you know, Jeremy Grant he's in Washington. He's and there's the Lakers going, oh gosh, we
what
didn't
do we
get
do?
him.
Yeah.
Gosh, hey Bronny, can you play small forward?
Yeah.
Because hey, we need somebody.
Bryce, you're not going to college.
Yeah, you're not. We're that would be it. Like okay, he's only a junior. We got to rewrite the rules here, guys. This is
what did LeBron said change the rule?
Yeah,
is that what he said?
I think we can do that. LeBron. Yeah, we need to change the rule to
We can do
allow
that.
high school underclassmen to declare for the NBA draft.
Is there one college rule? No, that's gone. Yep.
There could be with the power that he has. I know some people think he's powerless, but
that continued to be proven wrong.
But I would say thus far, it's there's still going to be moves. Like I do not think the team that is currently representing your Portland Trailblazers on July 1st is going to be the team representing them on November 1st.
Yeah, day one. No,
but so far, I think the offseason's been good because over the last few years, and especially last year with Lillard still in tow, right? It was which way are they going? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? When you go and you draft Shea, and then you draft Scoot, and then you go and you get Donovan Clingan. Then you get out of the draft, like you get Danny Advia. You've picked a lane.
You have,
right?
Absolutely.
And that the lane is this is where we're going. These are the guys we want. There's still an option here whether they want to win or whatnot, but at least I feel like things are a little more clear at the moment.
Totally, and it just gives a fresh start to the limbo we've been playing for years, where it's like we're going to keep Dame no matter what. How do we get help?
Right.
That's been the narrative for years, and that's what our only goal too. So to have a lane and pick that lane it's
nice.
It's a breath of fresh air.
All right, you don't have headphones, you can't hear the music. I can. It's on. It means it is time to go. Thank you.
Love it.
So much.
Thank
you're welcome
you very
back
much.
anytime. Chad said you're welcome back anytime. You're a part of the family now.
That's awesome.
All right. Courtside fans, you've been wonderful. But don't go anywhere because coming up next, right here on Rip City Radio 620, it's Hillsboro Hops action. Rich Burke.
Yes, sir.
Matt Rickert on the call. Have some fun with that. Thanks for joining me, Peyton. Rip City, as always, I love you.